It's in the land. Someone who always can. Don't you know? Burrito.
Are we back? Yes, we're back. See, I'm having one of those technical difficulty days, but we're gonna roll through it. I just want to say thank you so much for checking the show out and all the other shows right here on the Flobito Network. You know how it be. Yeah. So, top story today. Let's talk about sports, man. And not the way you're thinking it, like, because I could talk about scores all day long. I'm talking about the actual restarting a sport. Last week we talked about the NBA bubble, and I was like, I'm all for it. It's great. For those asking, I'm drinking tea as we're doing this. So this is Royal Assam tea from Don's of Windsor. They were talking about the whole sports bubble last week. They were talking about the NBA bubble and how cool it was, and I was worried about the psychological damage of all that. But it took a turn. Big baseball guy that I am, I'm not sure if you heard this, but at a time between episodes, the Miami Marlins had 14 players test positive for COVID-19. 14 players, it's a whole lot. And in fact, the Miami Marlins were removed. They had been shut down as pending an investigation. They had a game ready to go that got canceled, and another game featuring Philadelphia got canceled. Now, it's weird because if you really want to stop and think about it, right? Miami played a team last week. They played the Braves. The Braves played the Mets last weekend. Philadelphia played I think they also played Miami, and the Yankees were going to have a game with Philadelphia. So like, yeah, it's one team. It's 14 players, but we're 5 games in to this restarted baseball season, and potentially 7 teams can be infected by this virus. Now, I'm not here to talk wax political. I'm not here to tell you what's true and what's not, and what numbers are real, or what's a hoax or what's not. But I mean, you can't argue with symptoms, or you can't argue with a positive test result, right? So now we have a situation. What happens if all 5 teams have positive players? Does baseball shut down? You see, it isn't like the NBA. I mean, you can put everyone in the same bubble, I guess, but having so many men on a basketball team and different staffs and coaches in one place, there's not enough facilities I can think of on the planet that can handle that. And what we have here is a very sticky situation. So the question arises, besides the fact how foreign countries with better corona responses are actually able to have their league with a little less amount of incident, is what do the major sports do? And I fear the NFL. What are you looking at? You know, if you're the NFL, what are you thinking? What's the next step? All it takes is one. You know, when I was hardcore into the XFL, which seems like a lifetime ago, but it was as late as February or March, when one food vendor in the Seattle Dragons team had it, it was a big deal. It was like, oh, I can't believe that the XFL would allow that sort of thing to happen. You know, now we have potential real leagues doing that. And for what? You know, entertainment. I get it. I understand. Every person who sells peanuts, ever rips tickets. Do people even rip tickets anymore? The little scan thing, right? There are those who scan tickets to the staff members, the groundskeepers. Everyone's got to eat, and more work and starting the economy is great. In fact, I argue with my friends about this because there's some people who are like, look, man, the risk is low enough that we can just continue on. And I go, okay, until you get it, you know. I not to make light of it. I had an interview this week on Wassup Flobo Classic. It's going to air Friday. And he was saying that he actually knew people that passed away from it. It puts a whole different perspective to games and sports and what's really essential. You know, I'm a stand-up comedian. I haven't worked since March 12th. Like the afternoon that sports shut down was the afternoon where I was done. You know, that was a time when I was like, okay, we're pretty good. We're good. And so not saying it's why not me, or if I can't do, why can't someone else, but how much risk are you willing to take? And I'm watching it. I'm glad baseball's back. In fact, as of this recording, the Mets just beat the Braves 7-4. I think in Atlanta. No, in New York. No, in Atlanta. I'm happy that baseball's back, but at the same time, man, I would hate to be complicit in something like that because we really don't know how far this rabbit hole goes. So for those who don't know about me, I'm a wedding DJ, and my work has been pushed back as more and more couples are trying to figure out what to do with their weddings. And on some side, I'm like, I'm happy. I'm like, all right, cool. More time to think, more time to find a cure, more time to air it out. But as a small business owner, I'm like, yo, y'all gonna put me on or nah? And I get it. The rush don't want to come back, but safety's gotta be first. And so I hope it works out. I hope it's a very isolated incident. I hope they caught it early. Uh, Prayers go out to anyone. Hopefully they're asymptomatic and they can test negative soon. They can go back to their families or however situation they were doing it. But yeah, it's just a really rough time. For all of us. It's a rough time for all of us, but definitely athletes where, they've been dragged to the media for not trying to negotiate contracts and deals and abbreviated seasons and all that. But it's not all negative. It's Flobito. I'm a paragon of positive. Okay, question in the chat. Derek Fisher's in the house. Leslie Colon's in the chat. So she says, Primo. That's my prima there. She goes, would you work a wedding even if a mask, or like some people are doing now? So the mask is not the issue. And the answer is yes. I would wear like a regular work mask to put the setup and go ahead and work on putting the gear in place. But when the wedding actually started, I would have like a dress mask, which sounds a lot more fancy, but at least it would match my suit. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be fancy, That's not the issue so much. What is the issue is common surfaces. When someone comes to the booth, hey, I got a request, or the venues themselves having restrictions. So you're a DJ, and when they book you, you're promising them a party. And I always say, if there's at least 75 people at your wedding, we're having a good time. I've done weddings where there's like 40 people before, and it's kind of rough. So imagine going to these venues where there's like 25 people, 15 people, and they're still booking you to give them the party. But you're like, well, have you been to a party? Have you been to a nightclub early? It's not fun. No one wants to dance. We're the only ones there. So that's the kind of thing you're telling couples. Like, I'm a good DJ. You got to trust me. But people may not dance. I'm not saying that I suck. I'm just saying. And that's kind of the balance there. But yeah, I'll wear a mask. So you worry about that. You worry about people are dancing together, whether line dances are okay. And in some cities in Southern California, you're not allowed to have a dance party at all. Like, as far as the DJ is concerned, you're just allowed to show up, play music for the background, stand by the deck, and then bring everything down. You're not even supposed to be like, yo, 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 or whatever DJs do. But not all bad things are happening in the world of sports. I don't know if you guys saw this. The NHL has a brand new team. It's coming out of Seattle. It's not the Seattle Rain, not the original team, the Rain City Bee Pigeons. It's the Kraken, which is peak sports team 2020. The Seattle Kraken is the name of the team. Hello, Charlene. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Whatever. I'm an Islanders fan. I'm with it. The logos are okay. The secondary logo, the anchor, is okay. But didn't anyone not ask about how someone could manipulate that team name? Like, they already have crackhead shirts available for sale. I mean, did anyone think that through? And it kind of makes you wonder, like, there's certain team names that we don't really think about that are kind of silly. Like the Green Bay Packers or the San Diego Chargers, right? We don't know what a Charger is. It's not really a Ram. What up? This is in the house. How's it going? Thanks for coming up. This is What's Up Flobo After Hours. But the Kraken, crackheads, is something I'm supposed to wear proudly. I don't quite get that. What is the deal? I mean, God bless everyone in Seattle. They deserve a team. Seattle Sonics left. It rains all the time. It's probably gray. One of my best friends, Jack Farmer's from that area. Poor guy. But I don't quite get it. I don't quite get it. Leslie says don't judge the Chargers. I am not judging Chargers as a team. And I'll be completely honest with you. So I am a Houston Texans fan. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. When I moved to Los Angeles area, there was no football teams. Now there's two. I've been to the Rams games. If I were to pick an LA area team, it would be the Chargers. But how do you explain what a Charger is? Like, it's not like they're the Rams Like I'll say that their logo is a ram, and we call them the Chargers. It's a lightning bolt. So you're saying is it an electrical charge? Are they a phone device? Like it's hard to explain the name, but we don't bat an eye because that's the name it always had. Leslie, calling me a hater. I'm just saying. Also, sidebar, I did a DJ gig for the Red Cross a couple of years ago, and the Chargers brought like a bunch of people, brought like confetti and like cheerleaders and like mascots. So it was like a lot more fun. Like the Chargers are more about the community. It seems like, even though it's a pain in the butt to park, they charge you like $100 to park at their arena. But I like the Chargers. I am not not a heel at all, not a heel at all. I am a Texans fan, if you have to be it, but I don't hate the Chargers. Again, of the two, I would prefer the Chargers. And now again, I'm glad sports is back because during the downtime, I got into rugby, Australian rugby. I got into F1. I got back into second division British soccer. Like all the sports I kind of forgot about. When that being at home all day, trying to make this work, how to make content work and life work, and all that. But yeah, if you guys want, I can tell you what my schedule's like these days. Just how I try to balance downtime and stuff. But that's not really my bag. That's kind of that's like influencer talk, and I haven't been an influencer in years. So, yeah. Oh, moving on. What's up with your boy Kanye? Anyone know? Bro! So, as somebody who ran for office on a very, very low level, it takes a lot for someone to be like, I'm running for president. But my man Kanye is running for president. We're all like, ha ha! He's serious about it. Now, here's where it comes to a head this week. He got into a bit of a... Yeah, that's right, Charlene said Kim kidnapped him. Man, you know what? I do. The jokes they write themselves. And a lot of times people ask me about the Kanye West, the Kim Kardashian jokes, but that family is different. So he had a bit of a breakdown at a recent rally. And this is really want to bring this up. And this may be something that you guys can distract from. So he had this breakdown. He's in tears. And Kim says that homeboy is bipolar. And that's the way he acts, And Flobito says no. Oh, heck no, man. I know plenty of people. I know some individuals, more than one, that have bipolar disorder or manic bipolar disorder. And they do medicate. So I'm not even sure if Kanye's on his meds. But not once has anyone decided to run for president on medication. Not once has anyone really were able to do that kind of thing unchecked. And I guess a bigger issue is when something goes wrong with an individual in this country, we're so quick to like say, oh, it's mental health. It's mental health. But we never take time to learn about the differences of mental health. Now, trust me, I'm Flo Pizza. I'm not trying to sit here and lecture to you about reading a book or shaking the hands of somebody who's been depressed. But I feel it's kind of, in this particular instance, that this information about the mental state of this individual came out now at this time. It put a bad taste in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. I remember, speaking of the Kardashians, I used to live in a valley. For those of you who don't live in Los Angeles, like LA is like a giant sprawl of a city, and I live on the west side, what they call it, by the beach and stuff. But if you go north, you cross over like these hills and mountain ranges into the San Fernando Valley, and it's called the Valley. That's where like porn is really made and stuff like that. So when I used to live in the Valley, there used to be a bar in Studio City, and I went to on a date of all things, and I saw Lamar Odom just hanging out, just hanging out in the bar, like, yo, Lamar, man, it's like 7:30 on a Friday. Like you're kind of late from the happy hour crowd. You're kind of early from the party crowd. Why are you by yourself? And he was just, and it's funny. Here's the thing: Lamar Odom is a dope basketball player, but I guess I blurted out. I was out of turn when I said, "Hey, hey, Lamar!" Like I know who he was, you know. He was like, "Yeah, man, I can't go home." And it sounded so scary. Like, can't go home? Why? Like, is Freddy Krueger at your house? Like, I need to know. But I was being so respectful. I didn't know how to ask, like, why can't you go home? And this was like back in like 2012, 2011. Yeah, it's a weird thing. And Charlene says my dimension brother sister, which is, you know what? I cannot confirm or deny. I never met a real Kardashian. No, actually, no. I'll take it back. I have been close to Kim Kardashian once in Vegas. I was within 5 feet, but I won't say I met her. I happened to occupy the same space that she did. I was at the Mirage Hotel and Casino at the time. They had a store. The Kardashians had a store in the casino. It was called Kardashian Chaos with a K, and they were there for the opening. So like it was like Kim and Courtney and like a pre-surgery Kylie Jenner was there, and I was like, oh, Kim Kardashian's there. She's really short. I was like, I met Kim. She was great. Hey, Anyway, man. I mean, look, 99 days before we have our election day to elect the new president. I am not even sure if Kanye West is on the ballot. If he is, he might get some votes. Even if he isn't, he still might get some votes. I think Mickey Mouse gets between 3 and 15 votes every year. Like, there's still American people that still vote for Mickey Mouse for president. As if, like, who will voice the president? Who would draw the president? No one cares. You know what I mean? I'm not here to tell you to vote. That's not my job. All I'm saying is I am. you know, I'm a permanent mail-in voter, so maybe I'm part of the problem. But 99 days, make sure you read the platform of your candidates. Don't look at personality, look at platform, which one works for you and your interest, and vote for the person you think will be better for the country. Not your dude, not the guy who smiles the best, the person you think is better for the country. That is my advice. All of that about the. Yeah, we're gonna write in. We're gonna write in Kanye 20. If Kanye ran for president, do you think we still get albums? Do you think like he will rap the State of the Union address? Like, I mean, do you think the procession will have his own beat? Like, I'm just saying. Kanye still makes music, man. I think what 2 summers ago he had a bunch of like he produced a bunch of albums, like 7 tracks. He did his, he did Nas's, he did like Pusha T's, like Daytona was what it was called. Wasn't my fan. It's funny. I say I like old Kanye, but everyone always asks, "What's old Kanye to you?" Right? Like there's some people who say 808 and Heartbreak is old and new. Some will say Yeezus is old and new. Some will say Dark Twisted Fantasy is old and new. And I would say I warmed up to Dark Twisted Fantasy as far as I go. As far as like I consider old versus new. But like the College Dropout, Late Registration, exactly. Leslie is saying go there, Kanye. So like the second album, Late Registration is pretty cool. Graduation, it was different at the time, but I feel like those three, the College Dropout trilogy, that's the three. But like 808 and Heartbreak was so different at the time because he was singing all the time. But at the same time, going back to see how he went off the rails, it was just like, oh, he was just singing about sadness. Like, these songs now are, like, deconstructed. Like, you play a new Kanye, you're just like, all right, there's a beat, there's a snare, there's a voice that goes on for 15 minutes. And then all your, like, new hip-hop friends are like, bro, it kills, bro. You're like, I guess? Like, am I out of touch? I don't know. they're like musical puzzles. Whereas Chance is that way too. Chance the Rapper is that way too, but at least he has bars. Kanye's albums was kind of like songs you'll play when you're on a trip. But moving on, how you guys doing money wise during this pandemic, quarantine? Like if you're like me, you're probably struggling because most Americans are struggling. I'm not judging you, but I have been dabbling in the stock market. Not like any set of money, because like back in the old days, you had to have like a set full of cash, right? But now with ETFs and partial funds and all that, you can invest for little as $20. You can go to like a Cash App or Robinhood to invest. Just some like little things. I'm not here to give you advice because that would probably be illegal and all that stuff. But I will say if you can spare $100, just start now. Just put some now. When you have 5,000 it'll be put it now to your portfolio. It will totally pay dividends. Ideally, you will hold it on forever. It'll be part of your wealth and retirement. But I can tell you, as a guy who's not nearly as responsible, sometimes in some Christmases, that stock money's coming to clutch. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, man, during the COVID crash, a lot of stocks went down and bottomed out. Like my dad has been watching the stock Boeing. It went from like $300 a share to $120 a share, that kind of thing. Now, why am I bringing this all up? Because I was reading this article this week. It was from Medium. I'm clicking on it now. It was saying that Carnival Cruises, of all things, has been skyrocketing in value, stock-wise. I've never been on a cruise in my life. I always kind of wanted to, but I wasn't sure. Oh yeah, see everyone in the chat, like yeah, dude, it's hurting everybody. Like and the thing is, I just want to say, man, you're not alone. You are not alone in that. And I know we're in this weird the whole financial thing and being American, right? We are like we're trained as Americans to put your head down and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be strong. And as long as you pray, it would happen. If you're religious, as long as you work hard, it will happen. If you're not, and you're good. And sometimes due to situations beyond your control, that may not be the case. You can work as hard as you want. You could be cleaning 30 toilets at Disneyland, but still get paid the minimum wage. And it's okay if you're like, man, I don't know how it's going to work. It's okay. You're looking at the rent going, we've all been there. You feel that way, hit me up on Twitter. We'll talk about it like real buddies. But the reason why I'm saying is the Carnival Cruises, though, their stock skyrocketed. And I want to bring this up to your attention, not because I'm telling you we're the best in Carnival, but rather how people are being opportunistic. See, I've never been on a cruise. I would love to be. The idea excites me. I've never been, so I feel weird about being in a boat for 7 days. So I'm like, oh, let me do a weekend cruise. Never got around to it. But now, with all this going on, I am not going to go on a tin can. Unless it's a vaccine, But the thing is, with everyone being able to check out and buy bottom stock, the average novice investor is banking on people going back on cruises. Advanced investors have gone elsewhere, but you and me, people who have $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000 in portfolios are going, hey, this entertainment's cheap. I'm going to buy into it. And it kind of makes you wonder how optimistic we really think the future is going to be. We sit around our circles and talk about the worst. We will never be the same ever again. But statistically speaking, we're buying stocks in like casino companies and cruise lines. It just blows my mind. Are we happy? Are we looking for this to be over like that, like a snap? Or is it really going to be the doom and gloom, the new normal? You got to adjust everything. It's just weird to me. Yeah, Derek Fisher's been on a cruise a couple times because he's a baller. I want to say that. Been to 5 cruises in my lifetime with my family. But you live in Long Beach. There's cruise everywhere. You can fall into a cruise in Long Beach. I mean, come on, let's be real about it. Chris Jericho has a cruise, a Rocket Ranger. Again, I probably won't go now. I feel like if I go on a cruise, and it's not just coronavirus. I mean, when there's other diseases like the norovirus, the one that stomach flu, the really strong stomach flu a couple years ago, or Ebola, it always seems like to be on these tin cans where you can't go anywhere for days and days on end. Look, I'm Caribbean, right? My family's West Indian. I'll just hop a plane and go direct. 5 hours in the airplane is a lot less risk than 7 days at water. But also really feel it's kind of ironic because as a comedian, if someone booked me to be on a cruise ship to tell jokes, I would totally go. I would totally sell out to tell jokes on the cruise. That's the way I travel. That's the way I travel. I can't go to a city or a state for a week to hang out. But if I'm there to do a gig and I have extra days to hang out, it's a whole different experience. A whole different experience. And that's the kind of way I roll. But I thought it was pretty interesting how, like, on one side of our mouth, we're like, oh man, doom and gloom. The other side, we're like, oh man, let's buy some cruise stock. Wow. Running almost right out of time. Derek Fisher, Charlene, thank you. Leslie Colon in the chat. Let's talk about this, Charlene, because Charlene is my spirit animal these days. Practical Jokers, you're a fan of that show? I'm judging you hard. So Charlene is a fan, I guess. It seems that. I don't know if she's a fan of, but there is a Practical Jokers cruise, and that show is weird. I don't understand how guys can do pranks and only entertain themselves, and they laugh at themselves for years, and no one really. It's always like, oh, Sal. Hey, you know what? As someone who practices the comedy arts, I'm not going to judge. Derek Fisher, love that show. You love the show too. Leslie Cole knows something about cruises. I mean, I'm cool, man. I'm cool with not doing it. I really am. Again, I would sell out. I won't sell out as easy as my buddy Jack. Like my buddy Jack Farmer is the biggest sell ever. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell him to his face. So I'm not talking crap, but like he has this deal with Broasters, and on every show we ever do, Broasters Coffee is like, yo, bro, get Broster's coffee today. And I was convinced. I heard it so many times. I was like, all right, well, might as well. And Dear Broster's Coffee, Jack Farmer told me to buy coffee. you know? Uh, yeah, but I never been to cruise. My mom has. I think my dad has on it once. My brother did it once when he was married. But I'll keep things on land unless you're booking me to be on that cruise. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but being a comedian on a cruise is one of the hardest comedy gigs to have. It depends. It depends who you ask. Most comics will tell you two things. The hardest comedy gigs for comedians to have are either schools, the college circuit, because they pay well, but it's true. There are a lot more conscious of being politically correct or not offending anyone. The problem with that, though, is that it is a game of dice. You don't really know what each school allows, which each school doesn't allow, and I guess we'll talk about it now. We got some time, right? We're not in a rush. So, a lot of comics with my time in the game and longer. So I've been doing comedy 6 years next month. I like to still think I am. A lot of comics who did comedy 10, 15, 20 will tell you people have gotten too politically correct. There's, oh, you know what? It's not the same anymore. Comedy is dead. It's gotten too politically correct. I can't stand it. And I always thought that was a loaded perspective. Because a lot of people in the outside of comedy don't quite understand the writing process. And I don't either. I'm still learning about that, right? So here's the deal. Am I the kind of person to get on stage to go, you people are like this, while you people are like that? No, that's not my kind of humor. Some guys do that directly, and you get this weird like gray area where they're so direct you let it go. Like Andrew Dice Clay or Anthony Jeselnik, we just go, okay, whatever. It gets confusing for people like myself because we have to worry about what is offensive, and we don't know that until we see the audience too. Because I can tell you a joke about this is a true story. This is a true story. It's not a bit. One time, I got ran over. Some guy was in a wheelchair, and he ran over my foot with his wheelchair. And I think it was broken. But I was shocked because now I had a wheelchair tread mark on my shoe. But do I ask for an apology from a man in a wheelchair? Now, it's a cool story at parties, but the one time I did it as an open mic, and open mics are a place where you go to work things out. And that means it wasn't even a bit yet. It was just me saying, this is what happened to me last week. Someone goes, hey man, don't make fun of people in wheelchairs. And I'm like, but I wasn't. If anything, I'll make fun of my shock of me being out of sorts and not knowing how to respond to a person who I'm trying to treat equally, who did something that would, had he been on his own 2 feet, would be worth a conversation with. But it was interpreted as me making fun of people in wheelchairs, which wasn't the case. Because I don't like to make fun of people. You punch up, you never punch down. You know, make fun of heads of state, you make fun of whatever you want. You don't make fun of people in wheelchairs or overweight people or anything like that. And that's where it gets confusing. So when a comic goes, we're too PC, most of us are not going, we really want to make hate speech jokes. We just want to make marginalize these people. It's rather, hey, this joke that happened to me, this joke about this store I went to, this joke about this hat. I don't know if the audience has a bad history with this hat. Will it come out to bite me in the face? Yeah, if you guys watch wrestling, a lot of the Wassup Flobo fans are wrestling fans. There was a storyline in the past couple of weeks about Robert Stone, who's the manager, getting run over by a mini tank. And to me, that's hilarious. Because the poor guy sells it. That was my little sidebar about comedy. I don't know why I do that, the sidebars. But hey, it's Wassup Flobo after hours. We're hanging out. Skipping these lame stories. Let's talk about after shows real quick. So you guys know last week we sat around, we rapped about the AfterBuzz situation. If you guys have questions about that, I hadn't answered last week. Do so now. It's cool. For those who don't know, first time on the stream, because it also streams on Twitch. Welcome, Twitch crew. Welcome. I used to host an after show, unofficial after shows for Raw and NXT, and some of the other shows at this network called AfterBuzz. They closed down. No, they went on hiatus. And now a lot of the hosts, if you notice, out there from that school, which is really what it is, are making their own channels and their own content. So I did all backstory. We're not doing it. So one of our famous followers, Charlene, has been very adamant about the birth of after shows. Now, Charlene, I've never done SmackDown. I've guested twice, once with Christian and once with Tom. I don't think I've ever done SmackDown, but there has been some requests from fans, all these things about doing the after show. So let's talk about it. I mean, we're in the chat. We're friends here. If you're listening on the iTunes version, Spotify version, please like, comment, subscribe, give us 5 stars. Put my name, Flobo Voice, and after show Raw or after show SmackDown to see previous episodes and what that looks like. So with no after shows, I have nothing to do. Mondays goes by, Wednesday goes by, I don't know what to do with myself. I live tweet the show. I have fun with comedy. But there's a part of me that's like, man, I kind of miss the air of going an after show. I miss going into the studio because that was fun. Going to the studio, sitting down, looking at 3 cameras, talking, having a good time, telling jokes with everyone. But that's gone. The Zoom stuff is cool. The after shows we done and the Zoom things, it's cool. Got a nice group going. Jack Farmer, I mentioned him a lot on the show. He does an unofficial AEW after show on his own channel, Jack. I'm cracking up because I'm reading the chat here, and Derek Fisher says SmackDown's theme song is low key fire. So if you guys don't know SmackDown, it's Are You Ready by AC/DC, which is pretty interesting. So I'm getting there, Charlene. Charlene is so impatient. Stop. Point is, it doesn't matter if the city doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So on one side, I miss it. I miss having the after show. I miss coming up with wrestling jokes on the fly. I miss dealing and interacting with people in the chat. I miss all that stuff. And I was in the chat last Wednesday for Jack's new after show for AEW. And I'm like, man, I miss this. Charlene, to her credit or discredit, hit us up 3 times, or at least today's Raw, saying, when are you doing the Raw after show? Here's the deal, and here's why it may or may not work. On one hand, awesome. Get back the reps. We weren't getting lots of views with AfterBuzz anyway, so we can start something, right? And it's fun. The chat, the fans are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. Can I call you fans? Is that too celebrity? I'm sorry. The people in the chat is always great. I love it. It's always fun. But cons. One, yeah, I never missed a week before, but now I'm committing to never missing a week, right? Then I have to find a panel because the mystique of being at AfterBuzz is not there. It's different to say, hey, you want to come on my my live chat? I think some people would do it if I asked, but that's a whole different beast. 3, again, it becomes a job that, again, I don't get paid for. That's 3 hours on Monday night and 2 hours on Wednesday, maybe 2 hours on Saturday. Does it make sense to do 3 different after shows for those shows? Or does it make sense to do a roundup show? And while I do a roundup show, if I do a roundup show with Jack called Wrestling with Wrestling, and a question show called Wrestling with Your Questions. So that's the debate that's going on right now in my brain. Yeah, I would love to have a wrestling version where I sit and talk about the matches, but truthfully, it will just be me. And it'll be me doing the same grind I was doing at AfterBuzz. And I just told you last week I was ready to quit AfterBuzz. So what will be different this time? And so that's what it's kind of the push and pull. And I appreciate the fact that you've been adamant, Charlene. I appreciate it. But and also too, if I want to be that egotistical person, there's just a lot of after shows on the internet for Raw. Raw is a flagship. NXT has some. AEW has some. I would have to go to Impact, and no one watches that either. So Denise Salcedo, who was part of the AfterBuzz family, granted she's like a distant cousin on the Xbox thing, on her channel, Instant Culture, she has Taylor Swift stuff, but she jumps on another wrestling channel to do the Raw recap every week on with another network. And well, that becomes a grind. So I don't really know if that's the next step for me. And that's why I haven't decided, yes, I am doing an after show, baby. And that's why I haven't decided, I can't possibly do it. Because I'm having fun. Wassup Flobo After Hours, this show is a highlight. Because I didn't expect to have people in the live chat on a Monday night listening to me talk about stocks and Kanye West and Carnival Cruises. That's a dream. It's great. You know? Charlene, how about this? Charlene says, Charlene's on the chat says, so you're saying we'll see a recap this week. Well, Charlene, how about this? How about you try it? I would love to be in the chat for your version of a recap show. I will be your co-host. We should do it together. Would you be down for that? Would you be down if we somehow make a thing where like you're like my guest and I ask you questions about the show? Let me know. No, I'm being semi-serious. Let me know. That would be crazy. Yeah, see, Leslie gets it. Duke from home is definitely different. Now, okay. So there's the visual thing of going to a studio. So we'll make it work, Charlie. You're one of the family. We'll make it work. We're trusting. We'll make it work. There's a certain kind of mystique to being at the studio. Because on one hand you're like, oh man, look, this is like it's AfterBuzz and whatever. But for me, what made it technically great and how I improved as a person was being able to have that timer there, have a producer going, hey, turn me up. Can you run that image? And so if I do it at home by myself, no matter how fancy my studio is, I will still have to run that myself. And but that's the thing. So that's why it's always like, well, that's what made AfterBuzz cool. Being able to turn to a camera and be like, and now it's time for Roll After Show on AfterBuzz TV. You know? True, Leslie. Monday nights and Wednesday nights were like the giant, like the wrestling high school between classes, college thing. That was pretty fun. Yeah. And so, yeah, maybe I'm making excuses. Maybe someone's like, hey, man, look, the fact you did it for a year, rain or shine, except for a week, just proves you can do it on your own. You need to wisen up and man up and do it. But if I was doing an after show at 9 p.m. every Monday, Wassup Flobo wouldn't be a thing. Wassup Flobo wouldn't be a thing. If I was doing a Wednesday night NXT, other Wassup Flobo wouldn't be a thing, or other shows would be a thing. That's kind of I would love to do it. I don't know. Maybe I should do like pay-per-views and do monthly recaps, or maybe I should tell Jack to extend the Wrestling with Wrestling show. Because really, you can see me every day on the internet if you want to. This is Monday. Tuesdays, I'm with Evan Mack on the Everything Tournament. That is available on Twitch TV/Cocosina or Twitch TV/Flobo Boys every Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific, where it's a giant pop culture tournament. That's on Tuesdays. Wednesdays and Fridays is a Wassup Flobo Classic, and then on Thursdays, Jack and I do 2 wrestling shows. So like, if you're about the Flobito, you can see the Flobito. You know, is it too much? Is it too much? But I figured, because Charlene, you did ask a couple times, I feel there's only respectful on my end. I should give you a real answer to how I feel. And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know if the world wants it. And frankly, the last couple weeks in the Raw After Show AfterBuzz TV was all about Leslie anyway. Everyone loved Leslie Colon. Everyone said Leslie Colon's the best. Everyone said, what were you back? And I'm kind of mad about that, so I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Follow Leslie Colon, man. She has a new channel called Cafe Con Leslie, available on YouTube as well. You know, I always tease her, but she's good people's. I appreciate that. She's never too much. I don't know. Again, I'm blown away. There's 5 people in the chat because on the East Coast it's like minutes at 2:00 in the morning. So I'm always hyped for that. But yeah, who isn't a Leslie guy? No, seriously, there ain't nobody more knowledgeable, more likable. The only flaw between you and me, Jack, the only flaw that Leslie Colon has, and I'm gonna be honest with you, is that she thinks that Rey Mysterio is not a heel, but he totally is. Rey Mysterio is the biggest heel I've ever seen. I don't know why she doesn't say anything different. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. Okay? It's the kind of person I am. So what am I missing? Today, we just sat, we chilled, we talked about everything that's going on. Last thing before I get out of here, this is kind of the random news story of the day. Did you guys know this? Oprah Winfrey's magazine is now canceling its print circulation. And I'm like, do people still really read magazines? Like, when's the last time you bought a magazine? I had no idea. 2.2 million people check out Oprah every month. I cross my fingers because hopefully one day I can totally be on that level. Derek Fisher says, Ray is the face. You see Seth running tonight? And Leslie Colon says, no, you're just blind when you watch that segment. No, Rey Mysterio's blind. He lost an eye. I'm just, and I'm also black too. I'm just putting it out. Rey Mysterio's a heel. I don't know why Leslie defending that guy so much. Hopefully I can be as cool as Rey Mysterio or Oprah. This is What's Up Flobo After Hours. Every Monday night, I get to sit here and chill with my best friends, the people in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's your boy Flopito. Any questions, comments, concerns? This is what it's about. I guess if it's non-wrestling related, because the wrestling question shows on Thursday with Jack. But hey, everything's cool. This show's supposed to be half an hour. I always go over because I talk a lot. Here's the deal. You can follow me at Flobo Boys on Twitter, at Flopito on Instagram. I also have at Flobo Boys on Instagram. It's private, but if you want to become a pre-fan, you can. At Flobo Boys on Instagram. Flopito.com is a website. I say it every week. 2 ways to support your boy during these times. If we try to make things meet, try to make ends meet. You can buy a t-shirt, a hat, a mug, a mask over at Flopito.threadless.com. That's the Flopito shop. And I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Flobo Boys. What happens there? Bonus photo galleries, different blogs, when I do my interviews on New Amsterdam Radio, the complete unabridged interviews, uncut, are on that Patreon page, and other things as well. Supporting the homies, how we get through this. Buy the merch, Derek says. Yo, seriously, I'm launching. New Amsterdam is getting, breaking news. New Amsterdam is getting a new logo and a new t-shirt on the Threadless store on August 1st. And August is a very important month for me. August was the month I started comedy. August was the month I moved to California. August is when I opened the original New Amsterdam store back when I sold stationery. August means a lot to me. So August 1st, New Amsterdam is finally getting a new logo, and it's getting a new t-shirt line. Buy a hoodie too, man. We got some good hoodies, t-shirts, tank tops, all that stuff. This is not I am not selling out. And get some Broasters coffee. Put in bro code 1 so Jack gets a little something, because we're all in this together. Also, think about it, Charlene. I promise you I will give you an official decision in a week's time. Don't let me forget about it. Oh, happy birthday. That is Leo season, I think. Yeah, I'll let you know officially if I'm doing an after show and what that would be. Would it be a Saturday morning SmackDown? Would that be a Monday Night Raw after show? Will I just pick NXT? You know, in an ideal world, what I would do, oh, my birthday's in October, so that means what, Libra? I think Libras are the most, Derek says he's a Libra. I think Libra is the most common sign. There are more people born in Libra season than any other sign. It makes sense. New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, and then plus 9 months, first week of October, bang, bang, bang. All right. Yeah, so I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, if I had it my way, Scorpio, even better. JLJ Media, talk a lot with James Lott Jr. Now, look, I do this rinky-dink show called What's Up Flobo After Hours, part of the family of products. And this dude, JLJ Media, has a dozen shows. In fact, I was on 3 of them today. Like, this guy doesn't stop. Follow JLJ Media. But I'm June, but I'm Cancer. I'm actually the first week of Cancer. I'm 4 days out of the solstice. My half birthday is Christmas. What I was going to say is, if I had it my way, though, about the whole, should I do an after show? Should I do a review show thing? If I had it my way, and this is like, let's say the fans are back. Let's say, Leslie says Libra season, that's debatable. And it sucks because I'm a Cancer, and I can't say Cancer season is the best because I sound like a comic book villain. Like, you can't do that. It's messed up. My brother's a Sagittarius anyway. No, I was going to say, if I had it my way, guys, because I know we were talking about whether or not I should do an after show or not. I've been debating it. I feel bad for James Lott Jr. because I debated it with him just today. If I had it my way with all the fans are back, I would probably do like an NXT show and cover Classic and UK and be like NXT Report or what have you. But with NXT UK doing best of matches, that's not the same thing. And there's a lot of people getting on the NXT train or the Wednesday Night War train, and still debating whether I should do an after show for that. Or maybe it's other wrestling content we should do. But we're in the chat. We're doing a whole astrological sign roll call. Libras, we got Scorpios, we got Taurus. You know what? I can handle anybody except for Geminis. Geminis are just a weird lot of people, man. Aries, the fire sign. My mom's an Aries. Libras are cool. My brother's ex-wife was Libra. She's a little crazy, but she's cool anyway. Uh, Derek says his birthday during Halloween week. All the best candy. No, I would say Christmas is my half birthday. Um, yeah, the only one I can't deal with are Gemini's, man. Like Gemini's, and I love them to death. My ex girlfriend was a Gemini. One of my best friends, Evan Max, a Gemini. But they operate on a whole beat to the whole different drum. You know, like imagine there was a nightclub called Club Celestial, and every astrological sign's partying, right? Listen to some dope music. Like Gemini with a guy or gal walking in with a Walkman from the '80s with their own song, being like, "I love this jazz," and we're just like, "Yo, Gemini, what you doing?" Like, I'm feeling my own groove. Leave me alone. That's Gemini. They do something every time where it makes you go, "I'm confused as hell," but do your thing, bro. Ain't gonna stop you, Gemini. Just cool. It's fine. Gemini is the top half of June, so the last week of May and up to June 20th. So that yeah, Gemini season is just weird. Like it's just I've never been not confused by a Gemini person. They're just weird. They call me an empath. It said cancers are in their own shell and they're sensitive and things like that. And I think kind of that's the case. But here's a tease. If you guys follow my YouTube channel, Flobo Boys, this Friday, I got a special episode of Wassup Flobo. We actually talk about why I'm the way I am. Because people tell me I'm like sensitive and emotional, but then I get like logical and like cold at the same time. Me and my guests, we kind of go back and forth about why that's the case. So we were talking about birthdays here in the chat. You know what? It's funny because I'm sitting here thinking, man, no one cares about astrological signs. But coming out to Los Angeles, at least maybe it's my age group too, people are all about that. Like, I'm actually a Libra, but my rising sign is Leo, but I have a little bit of Aquarius in me and my moon sign. Like, what? I I read it like a casual sports team. I'm like, oh, like, okay, yeah, go Angels. It's like, oh yeah, go Cancer. I'm not all about that. But people are really hardcore about what their astrological signs are. So hey, I never don't knock it, I guess. You know what I mean? Let's see this. Try and diagnose me. What? Man, diagnose me. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Here's a quick story. I'll tell you guys because we're best friends now. It's really different doing the show with a live chat. I'll be honest with you. I always write my shows as if no one's going to be there. Then everyone shows up. Like, oh, there's people. Oh, let's chat. So when I was in college, when you're a psychology major, which I wasn't, but when you take psychology, they one of the assignments is to sit down with someone and like try to psychoanalyze them. Now I'm not saying people in sophomore psychology class are experts. Quite the opposite. That's what sophomore means. It comes from the root Latin of fool of knowledge, right? You're knowledgeable, but you don't know how to apply it yet. I've been textbook diagnosed a bunch of time by students, and every single time it's come out inconclusive. Like no one can peg anything to me. I will sit with people for years and they're like, I can't figure you out. I'm like, you can't figure me out. I tell you exactly how I feel all the time. I hate using the phrase open book because everyone says I'm an open book, but it's not true because we all got secrets. We all got things we're not proud of. But everyone's like, I just can't figure them out. I can't figure out. Are you? I don't know. Hey, what do you? Well, that's just the way I am, and I'm proud of it. And people in the chat, JLJ, you share a birthday with Bono. I didn't think Bono had a birthday. I thought he just appeared. I thought every day was a Bono day. Like he like extracts energy from all the days. Ah! Yeah. I was a comm major in college, so I was the one. I think four of us like took it seriously, and the rest of people were like athletes that were flunking out of school that got put in comm so they can get an easy grade. But when I went, I was always a subject of people being analyzed and all of that. This has gone off the rails. I want to thank you so much for bearing with me today. My mic died just before the show went on the air. Didn't have time to restart, so that's why I did the double intro. But a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is Wassup Flobo After Hours. Let me know what you think of the show. This is the fourth week we're doing it. Um, uh, Sorry, I'm getting distracted here because I was about to wrap up. But Charlie in the chat says this. She goes, "I share a birthday with Michael Jackson, and it's interesting because my birthday falls on the day he died, 2009. 2009, Farrah Fawcett and Michael Jackson died on the same day on my birthday. And I remember because I went to go buy a TV with birthday money, and all the TVs had like Michael Jackson dead, Farrah Fawcett dead, and it was like, oh no, and like Ed McMahon died the day before. It was a weird time. JLJ Media says, how many Nerdcasts do you have? Not enough, man. I think I have about a dozen, I think. I mean, there's some where I don't really wear. Like I have like a Mets hat that's green for like St. Patty's Day. I don't really wear that. This is actually for my brother. This is actually a New York Mets hat. People always ask. This is getting off the rails too. I love getting off the rails. We're going for it, man. I'm putting everything about me into one thing. So I talked about this on Wassup Flobo, a classic about why am I a Mets fan. Because you don't have to know anything about sports to know the Mets are underachievers. But the reason why is this. See, when it comes to baseball in New York, there's two teams. And one is the gold standard for baseball everywhere. You can go all over the world and everyone knows the Yankees. Everyone knows what they stand for. But the Mets are relatively new. They came out in like the 60s. They only won the World Series like twice. They've lost a lot of losing seasons. So that when you go anywhere in the world and you find someone with a Mets logo right here, they have some connection to New York City. It isn't just I like baseball, so I picked them as a team. It's like my grandma was from Brooklyn, but she moved out. Or when I was a foreign exchange student in America, I stopped and watched a Mets game. It's almost like a tribal mark, like a tribal symbol. It's like it's like I recognize my city within you, and you recognize your city within me. So that's why I'm always a fan of representing New York in that way. That's probably what I would get. Charlene's right. With the Yankees, if you side with the Yankees, you have to shave. They have a very old school, like clean shaven policy. You don't have numbers on your uniforms. You gotta be clean shaven, which means they're lame. Totally get it. Yeah. The Cubs. Oh, come on. Woo. I don't know, man. Like, hopefully the baseball won't get shut down with the whole COVID thing. But if 2015, I almost cried because that team has broke my heart every year. But if the Mets win if the Mets win the pennant, I'll be ecstatic. If they win the World Series, I would get a tattoo of Mr. Met, my homeboy, on my body somewhere. Not even kidding. Or maybe a Mets logo or something. No idea. But yeah, I hope they win before the end of my life. You know. Oh, good point. So, growing up, there was a whole big thing. Like, oh man, are you a Yankee fan or are you a Mets fan? And there's always that old cat that's like, you know what? Ebbets Field, man. Dodgers is where it's at. O'Malley, like, sold that team out. And the Dodgers are kind of a weird thing because, yeah, they left a community that loved them, and they cleared out a community in LA and destroyed that whole tenement housing to, like, build a stadium in Trevor Ravine. But they kind of become part of LA. Like, I like the atmosphere better at Dodger Stadium, even though I know Angel Stadium has a better facility. So it's kind of like a weird catch-22 in Los Angeles. I go and see Dodger games when the Mets are in town. I'll make a trip to see the Padres. When you go to San Diego, and the baseball park is in the middle of downtown, where you can like show up, day drink, walk to the stadium, watch the game, drink some more, walk back to your hotel, sleep in, wake up the Sunday, get a robe, have breakfast in the lobby, and then travel out. Like, that to me is aces. So the past couple of years, I made the point to drive down to watch the Padres play. The Mets play the Padres. So, So James Lott Jr., I got one Islanders hat. That's my favorite one. It has like a big Islanders logo on it. About 6 or 7 of Four for these, 3 with Mr. Met's logo on them, and I have like 2 Kangol hats or whatever. All right, before I get out of here, I have to go off my man right now, you know. So, JLJ Media says, baseball makes me fall asleep. I'll go for the food. And I actually have to agree. Of all the modern sports, baseball is the slowest. And a lot of people saying that baseball is a dying sport, which I also agree. There's a lot of reasons for that. Not the kind of show. I could probably get into it. And the Oakland A's are like my secret special team, and the White Sox. White Sox and A's are my special soccer teams. But I feel, though, that baseball used to be such a more important pillar of the African American community because, especially with the Mets, we were so bad that they would come to the hood with offering tickets to go to cheap games. So you will go to these games, and the Mets didn't have the budget the Yankees did, so they'll play a lot more brown faces, a lot more black faces. You know, they have a lot more school bus community days. Growing up, they were like black baseball stars, like Frank Thomas or Tony Gwynn. We don't really have that anymore. So like, I love baseball. It's kind of the sport that's in my blood, but I do feel I have a kind of responsibility in that way to like at least like evangelize about it. But it does. It's true. It's fair. It does break my heart when someone goes, baseball's boring. Because the rule changes have come in a little bit too late. It's unfortunate. It's tragic. It's America's pastime. The Negro Leagues, they don't say more. You know, blacks don't even allowed to even play in the sport. And not only did we find a way to play in the sport, we excelled in the sport in a way that was unrivaled. You'll never hear that ever again, of a separate league of a certain skin color, finding a way to have better play than its mainline thing, but so much where it was integrated, not because of progressive feelings, but because they were outdrawing the parent clubs, to bring in the color barrier, becoming one of us. Afro-Caribbean people like Roberto Clemente, still a hero in Puerto Rico. I mean, it means a lot to me. So that's why I try to advocate for it. But I get it. If you're like, I'm a thing, bro. It's slow. I thought soccer was slow too when I was a kid, but now can't get enough of it, man. Taste will change. Hockey is cool. Go Islanders. I'm all about that. Manchester City in England. LA Galaxy here in American soccer. La Liga Deportiva Alajuelense in Costa Rica for soccer teams. Houston Texans in football. I can go on and on. Of course, WWE. All right, I'm out for real this time. What's up, Flobo After Hours? Coming to you back every Monday right here in my studio, I guess, with everything. Maybe one of these episodes, I will give you a tour. That's right, Mookie Betts. Woo! Shout out to Mookie. All right, man, I'm out. Until next time, man, be yourself. Peace out. Support another host. Support another creative. Because we're out here. We're trying to do this. We're trying to be as essential as we can. No, man. Thank you. It's your boy Flo Pizzo. I'm out.